What is going on, my pin people? Welcome back to Pin Pals, the podcast about enamel pins. I am your host, Eric Roman from Warrior Pins, and as always, thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys are well. I hope you're enjoying your summer, and you guys are living your best lives, and more importantly, you're indulging in pins. If you're listening to the podcast via Apple Podcast, feel free to give us a 5-star rating and leave a review. We love reading them, and we need some more to read in the future, so if you haven't done so already, go ahead and do so. It takes a couple seconds. If you prefer a visual experience for Pin Pals, we're on YouTube. You can go ahead and just search for Pin Pals Podcast. Go ahead and subscribe and turn on those notifications so that you never miss when we upload a video. Sometimes it's the entire episode, sometimes it's a YouTube short or maybe a clip, but go ahead and subscribe because we're almost at 50 subscribers, and that's the milestone right now that we're trying to achieve. I called it out last episode and we got a bunch of subscribers. By bunch, I mean maybe like 6, 7, which to me, relative to the podcast, that's pretty good. So if we can hit 50 within the next episode or two, that would be awesome. Appreciate you guys hooking it up and helping out. Finally, if you're feeling like Oprah and you want to support the podcast, you can. Feel free to leave a tip, a donation, or maybe join one of our monthly memberships via the Buy Me a Coffee page that I set up for the podcast. There's a lot of fun stuff there, and while we're on the topic, I need to give a shout out to our newest member, the Lord and Savior himself, Pin Lord. Yes, the Pin Lord is now a monthly supporter of the podcast and joins Tater Tot Pin Shop, Pin My Ride, Pins by Charlie as the founding supporters for Pin Pals, which is a pretty cool and exclusive club to be a part of, if I do say so myself. Really, thank you guys for your support, supporting the mission and helping me give back to the pin community. If anyone listening to the podcast right now has ever learned a thing or two, maybe found a couple tidbits of advice when it came to marketing pins or talking to a manufacturer, if an episode or a conversation inspired you to make the leap into pins or, any of that kind of stuff, consider supporting Pin Pals. All you got to do is just visit the Buy Me a Coffee page. I made it super easy for you guys to support the podcast. All the money goes back into it. Season 3 has been greenlit, really. So that's going to be fun, and there's a lot of fun things that I want to do and have planned and would love to do, and we're almost there. I can't talk about it quite yet. I don't want to spoil anything, but really going to be relying on building a community to help make season 3 as best as possible. So if you want to be part of that and you want to help really build and craft and create season 3 together, Buy Me a Coffee is where you want to be. Check that out. Link will be in the show notes. All right. Today's episode, I talk with Phil from Coolectric Creations about, pins, of course. This was a super fun and entertaining conversation. I mean, get ready probably for the most transparent episode to date. I pulled back the curtains, and aside from the usual questions, how did you get started? How do you design pins? What's your workflow look like? We get pretty deep into certain topics such as advertising on Etsy. I peel back the curtains, like I said, and I show you guys how much I've spent on Etsy advertising versus how much I've profited over Etsy advertising, which is pretty interesting. And Phil weighs in. We talk about trying to crack the algorithm on Instagram, which is like seemingly impossible, but we try and just like go back and forth with sharing tips with each other. We also talk about finding his pins as knockoffs on Alibaba, and someone else was trying to get into the pin game, saw an opportunity to buy pins in bulk, but they actually turned out to be Phil's pins. So that was a pretty interesting story, and there's so much more in this conversation. It's a good one. I learned a couple cool things from Phil as well, like how to gauge whether or not a design should be turned into a pin. I learned a little bit more about screen printing on pins and so much more. You know, it's really hard for me to summarize all this stuff, so I'm just going to go ahead and roll the interview. So without further ado, enjoy my conversation with my pin pal, Coolectric Creations. I'll see you guys next week for another episode of Pin Pals, and remember, it's the little things in life. Welcome to Pin Pals, Phil. How is it going?
What's up, man? How you doing? I'm doing good.
Yeah, glad to hear it. Glad to have you on the show.
Dude, I appreciate it, man. I've been watching, the podcast and listening to the podcast. It's amazing. So I do appreciate your time and having me on.
Hey, of course, would love to have you too. Add you to the Pin Pod family. You're doing a lot of cool stuff, and I want to get all into it with your pin shop, Coolectric Creations. Very awesome stuff.
Thank you.
Before we jump into that, why don't we tell the listeners who you are?
So I'm Phil. I'm an LA native, so born and raised in Los Angeles. My background is nowhere near pins. I grew up in San Pedro, which is, it's a beach town, and my dad's a longshoreman, and I actually did longshoring for a long time. I'm just like this basic, kid that grew up in a small town and just kind of went with the flow, and somehow I ended up here doing pins and starting my own brand, which is amazing. It's been a cool ride, but man, I'm just your down to earth guy, man. That's me. I'm just Phil.
You seem pretty down to earth, and that's pretty cool. Talk to me a little bit about your pin shop, Coolectric Creations.
So Coolectric Creations, there's so many categories going on within Coolectric Creations. I can't just give it like one, category, one style of pin that I do. I grew up on so much stuff, so I grew up on, listening to vinyl records with my dad. I grew up going to Disneyland, when I was a kid and still enjoy that. I grew up in a town where there's lowrider cars and, there's backyard parties. And so, Coolectric is all over the place. I have Disney stuff. I have, some Latin inspired stuff. I have just, 80s inspired stuff, because that's when I grew up. I'm an 80s kid. So I grew up in the 80s. So if you go to Coolectric Creations, you're just not going to find one thing. You're going to find a variety of things. There's always something for everyone. Doesn't matter what decade you were born in. It doesn't matter what decade you are totally into at the moment, you're going to find something there. So Coolectric is just a variety of so much, but not only pop culture, but kind of like, a tribute to like LA, like I have some Lakers, I'm a Lakers fan and a Dodgers fan. You're going to find, some cool things in there. And it's so much, man. It's even confusing for me.
Well, it's pretty cool. I'm looking at your site right now, and it's just, yeah, it touches on a lot of different things, but it just hones in on this like pretty cool, unique, fun style, this cool take on a lot of these pop culture stuff. Like I want to say these Star Wars pins that I think you're doing for Pin Labs, which we'll get into later. These things look cool. It looks like there's screen print, like a bunch of different colors screen printed on the pins.
I think you're talking about the artsy Star Wars pins.
Yes.
So those were like 80s inspired to me, and I just wanted to create a series of Star Wars pins that not only would you wear, but maybe you would see in an art gallery. Maybe like it's just like way out there, because there's a million Star Wars pins going on right now. Like Star Wars is hot, man. Mandalorian's hot. It's just like so a lot of pin makers are doing Star Wars pins, and I just wanted to do something totally different that no one else has done. And I'm actually executing that right now and really happy with the outcome. But yeah, for instance, this pin here, I'm just going to show it real quick. But that's the Stormtrooper pin there. That has 17 screen prints on it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so it is a lot of work. And, I really have to trust the factories on these. And, there's a lot of back and forth, but they're coming out great. And the response and the support on these is just amazing. You watch The Mandalorian?
Yeah.
Okay, so at the beginning of The Mandalorian, I don't know if you noticed, but they have kind of like an intro, for Lucasfilms where it kind of shows like this like kind of rainbow, kind of like iridescent, kind of like shadowing around some of the characters. And
Hmm.
you see the reflections and stuff, and that's where I got the idea from. I was looking at that, and I was like, oh, that'd be cool to maybe do like a reflection, or something. And I was kind of messing with metals, like maybe I just do like maybe try to execute like a chrome, and then finally I was like, no, that's too hard, to maybe do like a 3D mold and add print on that. And I was like, it's not going to work. So I actually went with this and, went with my, kind of like 80s influence and did those. So they're just amazing. I'm really happy, really happy with the outcome.
Bravo. Yeah, they came out awesome. Definitely gonna have to order a couple. And you said 17 different colors screen printed on this thing. I'm thinking from like a pin maker perspective, that's an expensive pin, man. Sorry for the motorcycle going by, but that's an expensive pin. And then I'm checking it on your website, and they're only going for $14. Not to say that that's on the cheap end of things, but I've definitely seen pins go a lot higher. Lots of different reasons and whatnot. But
Right.
this is I don't know. I guess from this perspective, it's a oh wow, good for you.
I started collecting pins at Disney, and the prices at Disney are insane. And, I try to keep my prices fair. As a small business, I need to make it fair to myself as well. The norm is a $10 pin. That's what everyone's like expecting, to spend $10 on a pin. You go to a show, you're expecting to spend $10 on a pin. But now, the manufacturer prices are actually going up.
Mm-hmm.
So now a $10 pin might be an $11 pin. But a pin with this much detail and this much work in it that takes the manufacturer over a month to produce, because they're trying to get those screen pins just right. They're coming back at me saying, yeah, it's going to cost a little bit more than what you thought.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to, maybe it could be a $20 pin, but I'm not trying to make, a ton off of it. I want to be fair. I did do a couple of them at $13 just because, the manufacturer gave me a break on a couple of them. But, for the most part, $14, I think is fair for what it is. And, I don't know, if you're a pin fan and not a pin maker, there's so much work that goes into these pins. I know when you hold it in your hand, you're just holding a pin in your hand, you're just like, what's it worth?
It's just a piece of metal.
It's just a piece of metal. But, when you're doing something that is really creative, for instance, like a stained glass pin or something, or, a pin that has like the pearlescent, swirl or something, the manufacturer, that's more work for them. So that, the prices bump up. So unfortunately, we need to bump up those prices as well.
Yep.
But, I try to be fair with the prices. It is a little pricey, but not bad.
Yeah. I'm definitely, I hear you on that. I'm finally venturing on to making a new pin with the new feature. I might have talked about it on the podcast. I don't know. I don't want to give it away just yet, but it does use that pearlescent finish that
Mm-hmm.
you briefly talked about.
Right.
Boy, did that make the price skyrocket.
Right.
Because I got two different colors on two different spots. So it's like, all right, what's the damage, Doc?
Right. I just did my first one, and it's not released yet, but I just got it in hand. And yeah, it bumps up the price. And then I actually have one in production. The one I just did just has like the pearlescent, colors on it. But the one that it's in production right now actually has the swirls.
Oh, nice.
They hand do those with like a little toothpick, so they actually, everything is hand done with those swirls. So yeah, I mean that's going to be a pricey pin as well. But the outcome is what matters. If that's what you want, you just got to roll with it. Don't cut yourself short on an awesome pin just because it's going to run you, maybe $1 more a unit, if that. Just go for it. Whatever's in your head, whatever your vision is I feel like you just need to do it.
Yeah, for sure. I had a vision in my head for this. Like, it'd be nice to if I could use like all the premium effects, as like Adventure Society put it on one of his episodes. Glow in the dark, have the glitter, the pearlescent, have all the works, rainbow metal, all that stuff. But I really found a way to kind of emphasize this pin by adding those special effects. And I think that's kind of like a good approach, the strategic approach to like upgrading to a premium feature with a pin.
Absolutely. The one that's in production now, I wanted it to kind of be like a smoke effect.
Oh, cool.
That's why I did the pearl, and I wanted it to kind of like swirls to be like a smoke effect within the pin. So, when I design pins, I just don't be like, oh, like I want to throw some pearl on it just because it'll be shiny and like, maybe that'll attract more attention. It's like, no, I try to, whatever goes with the pin, whatever might work, I try
Hmm.
to throw it in there.
Kind of lean into those cool features.
Yeah, because they are available. And, as a pin maker, I learn something every couple months, like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. And I follow a lot of great pin makers and that introduced me to so many different like textures and, different things you could do with a pin. And it's just amazing. When I first started doing pins, I thought soft enamel was it. I thought that every color had to have a black outline around it. I thought that, soft enamel was the way to go. And that's how I started. I started with a bunch of soft enamel pins. And, I would look at other pins, like the Disney pins, like mass produced pins.
Okay.
They would have, cause like our shit's professional too,
Yeah, it's probably coming from the same factory.
Probably. And we actually probably put more work into it, but, I would notice that they would have a smooth surface, and I'm like, what is this? I didn't really understand it, figuring it out a little bit later. Oh, it's hard enamel. I'm like, oh, hard enamel. Okay. And then a little bit later, a year down the road, oh, I could do printing on top of that hard enamel. And then, 6 months down the road, oh, I could do printing on top of soft enamel if I do an epoxy fill, so I'm always learning something new, and I've been doing this for, this year will be 4 years.
Nice.
And I'm still learning new stuff. My buddy Miguel from BB Create, my buddy Carlos from Data Crew, my buddy Stina from Laser Brain, like all these, cool artists, they help me out and they're like, hey, have you seen this? Did you know you could do this? Oh yeah, you could totally do that. And it's just like blows my mind all the time that, you think you know it all, but you know nothing.
Yeah. Man, that's the cool thing about like being in this community, just in life in general, is just that like that constant thirst for knowledge and improving and just seeing what else is out there. It's it's how you grow as a business and that's how you learn and that's how you evolve your craft and your products and that's how they get bigger and better over time.
Yeah.
But you're genuinely excited about that and like I can feel that and that's really cool.
Yeah, and it's just because, I mean, you produce a pin, ages ago. But when you see these new techniques, you're like, ooh, I could have did that on that pin. So you kind of try to create something new, kind of similar to what you did before that you could use these new techniques with. But yeah,
Mhm.
it is exciting. When I find out, that I could do something different, I'm like, hell yeah, let's roll with this. What can I do? Yeah, it always keeps my brain going.
Nice. Talk to me about your pin making process. Once you have something designed, what's it look like for you? Because that process is different for everyone.
Yeah, it's different for me too every time. So I get the vision and I sketch it out on my iPad. Crappy sketch, just like as quick as I can, just so I don't forget. And once I get that sketch down and I know, okay, that's kind of like the direction I'm going to lead towards. I go online, I get a little bit of reference. And it's just, for me, it's this reference. If I'm doing a Mandalorian pin, I need to make sure I'm kind of like, and I do mashups too, but I kind of want to make sure, when people look at it, they know exactly, like, oh, I know exactly that's a Mandalorian pin. I know exactly what that's from. Even if I mash it up with something, I know what the other part is. So I just want to make sure I'm key with everything. And so I do reference, and then I will actually get on the iPad and do it all in layers and spend time with it. And then if I need to, I'll throw it on the Mac and I'll go in. I use this program called Pixelmator. It's kind of like a Photoshop. I don't use AI, I don't use Photoshop, I don't use anything fancy.
Pixelator.
Yeah, it's just called Pixelator. It's real simple and it's real easy. So if I need to do anything, I throw it in there and I touch up some things or get it perfect. I stare at this for a while before I actually send it away. And I'll be honest with you, when I get the final design, I think it's money. I'm just like, oh, this is a eater, And what I do first is I make it into a sticker just to kind of get people's feedback. So I'll produce it as a sticker. And I just throw my stickers, in packages for free.
Okay.
I post them on Instagram just to kind of get feedback. And I'll show them the sticker, or even, I'll throw up the design even, on Instagram, and I kind of like check for the feedback. And if I get massive feedback and it's great feedback, like, oh my God, that's amazing, I can't wait to see this as a pin, and please make this to a pin, and you got to do this and you got to roll with it. I get a little bit more pumped.
Yeah.
If there's crickets, and I don't have like millions of followers. I have, coming up on 8,000 followers, but I have a lot of active followers who are really into my stuff, and they, comment, every day, and they always are commenting on my stories and giving me, good support and feedback. But if I hear crickets, I know I need to change that design, or I know that, it's just not going to happen. It's going to be one that'll be sitting around for years. It's not, and I'm not just after sellouts. Like that's not what I'm after. I don't have to, I'm not making a pin so it sells out right away. I'm making the pin because I enjoy, the pop culture, kind of side of that pin, like I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I'm a freaking Pixar fan,
You're a fan first.
Right, I'm a fan first. So I am creating those pins because I am the fan, and I want to create a pin, inspired by those movies, the music and all that stuff that I love. That one thing that you think is going to be a heater can just not be anything, it could just be sitting forever. And, my brother, he always brings this up. My brother and I were born in the 70s. We grew up in the 80s. So we loved like the Groovy Ghoulies. It's a cartoon where these monsters play in a band. We grew up on, HR Puffin stuff and all these cool shows that probably nobody has any idea what they are. But we grew up on these shows, and we're like, dude, we need to make pins, of these shows. And like, we'll sell maybe one or two, like, so even though we're totally into it, a lot of people, they just don't get it. And they're just like, I have no clue what this is, man. So, and once I get a feel for the pin, and I know, people are into it, then, I figure out, if I'm going to do soft enamel, if I'm going to do hard enamel, figure out the printing layers, on Pixelmator, I'll do a platform. It's just like the hard enamel part, and then I'll throw the layers of the screen, which I'm sure a lot of, I'm sure most pin makers do. And once I'm happy with everything, I send it to the manufacturer, and I just say my nightly prayers that it comes back looking the way that, I envisioned it. For the most part, I've gone through at least, a dozen manufacturers, within the 4 years of creating pins. For the most part, they come out, great. But there's been, a handful of times where like, whoa. And I've seriously have thrown batches in the recycle. Like I'm like, I can't sell this. There's no way. Like, I just take a hit on it, and I'll tell the manufacturer like, hey, this isn't what I want. And the only thing they're going to do for me is redo the pin. I'm like, that just doesn't make sense, because it doesn't matter what you do. It's just not going to come out the way I want it. So I just take the hit, and I just recycle them. And, like even Carlos, from Data, and my brother would be like, just give them away for free. I'm like, no, like that's, if I'm not happy with it, I'm not going to even give it away for free,
I like that.
So once it goes to the manufacturer, again, like I'm just like saying my prayers, like, come on, man, give me something good, my manufacturers, they send a photo in an email when production's done. They're like, hey, we're going to mail these out to you. And they're always crappy pictures. Always. They're the crappiest, most pixelated pictures. And I'm like, okay, like I can't tell whether this is good or bad, so I just have to wait till I get them in person. I'm opening the box. I get the knife. I open it. And I just like kind of close my eyes a little bit. I pick one up. Yeah, it looks good. It looks good. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much my process. I just I create mostly everything on my iPad. Once I'm happy with the design, it goes to the manufacturer. I trust the manufacturer with the art proofs. I don't do my own art proofs. Sometimes if I want something a certain way, I'll like do like a PDF with like arrows, saying, oh, I want this way, I want this that way. But I don't do like my own proofs with Pantone colors and all that. And I know a lot of pin makers do, and that's awesome. I just like, I honestly don't have the time, or just to get like a Pantone book and kind of look through everything and kind of figure out your colors, I just don't have the time to do it. So I kind of trust the manufacturers to get, everything right, and sometimes, the colors, they come back on the pin, especially if it's a soft enamel pin with like a black plated background, the colors will come out a little bit darker, which is fine. It's expected, but Yeah, I mean, I pretty much trust the manufacturer with the proofs. I don't do my own art proofs and send it to them in my own Panto colors, but maybe I should. I don't know.
Well, if it's working, you're not getting too many mistakes or anything like that. I think over
Yeah,
time you just develop this trust and this just kind of like process with this manufacturer. Hopefully there's that good faith, when something does happen, maybe a color's messed up, they'll remake it. But they'll yeah, we'll remake it for you on your next order. Give us more money and then we'll throw it in on that order or something like
I
that.
was like, yeah, we got you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But if it's a pin that requires printing, like I'll send them. Okay, I want this. This is going to be the hard enamel part. This is going to be the printing part.
Okay.
And if needed, sometimes the manufacturer goes, wow, this is really like complex. It's can you send me an AI file? And I don't mess with AI. I don't know how to use it. I have no clue. So I send my files to somebody to convert it all into AI for me, and then it's easier for the manufacturer to kind of break up all those layers and stuff.
Cool. I want to touch on something real quick. You said in the beginning of this how you kind of gauge whether or not to turn something into a pin by turning it into a sticker or maybe like doing the design. I think that's really smart. And I know a lot of people take different approaches to that. Maybe they'll just show a little bit of it or, I don't know, they'll do like a time lapse drawing or something like that. Like I'm still trying to figure out what
Right.
the best process is to kind of like tease a pin without giving it away or thinking that like, oh, if I release like just the image of this, someone else is going to take that and turn it into a pin like before I do or before I get a chance to do that. So like, but so do you do that with all of your designs? Is that pretty much more or less your selection process?
Not all of them. I'm not really afraid of someone taking the idea from me. I've created pins before. A month later or a couple months later, I'll see another artist do something super, super, super similar, and I'm
Mhm.
like, maybe they got the idea from me. But honestly, like one time I was like, oh hell, like theirs looks better than mine. Congrats. Whether they got the idea from me or not, I really don't care. If you're carbon copying somebody's design, then that's messed up. Like that's not cool. But if you just get the idea, like we don't own anything. Like I don't own the license to Disney or anything. Like I don't own it. It's not mine to be like, oh, that's mine.
It's true.
But if you have a certain thing where it's yours because nobody did it, you created it, it's been around for a long time, and then somebody takes that and runs with it and makes it their own, then yeah, I'd be like, ah, come on, man. Like, so I'm not really afraid of somebody taking the art and making a pin before I do. Because honestly, sometimes when I do show that art on, Instagram just to kind of get a feel for it, that pin might not even go into production for, I'm not even kidding, like 6 months or more because I have so much piled up. The thing I shared on Instagram, the design I shared on Instagram was just something that popped in my head and I just designed it, on the iPad real quick. It took me, like maybe like, a half hour, 40 minutes to design it. And I showed it like, oh, what do you guys think of this? Something real quick. And like, I always do that. I create, stuff for fun and I'll be like, hey, I just did this for fun, and people are like, that's amazing, like you should make that into a pin. But I have so much other stuff going on, like it won't get made into a pin for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So I just I don't worry about if someone's going to take that design and
Okay.
make it a pin. I have had not pin makers, fellow pin makers, in this community, but I've had people in China take my designs and remake them and sell them.
Oh, snap. We talked about this on a previous episode with noise pins.
Yeah.
Oh my god, tell me your experience.
So I got a DM from someone who follows me and someone's, who's just loves my pins and is into my pins. And she's like, hey, like, I think someone's, selling your pin designs, but as their pins. And I'm like, okay, but, I have a wholesaler. So I have, someone that, handles all the wholesales for me. So I was like, oh, maybe they just bought them wholesale. She sends me a link to Etsy and I go on and it's a completely crappy, just a totally messed up version of one of my pins. And it looked horrible. And I was like, oh, I'm like, someone actually produced this. And So I messaged, the person on Etsy, and I was like, hey, just letting you know that that's my design. I don't care that you're selling it. That's fine. I just want to know where you got it from. And she said, Alibaba or AliExpress. And she sent me the link, and I went on, and sure enough, they had a few of my designs that they were selling,
Mm.
and for cheap. You could get my pins for like 50 cents. And I was just like, whoa, And so my pins are around that aren't my pins. My
That's
design is around.
crazy.
And when that happened, it was a shock, but I mean, I didn't let it bother me. I took a picture of the back, because I don't show the back stamps on my shop or on Etsy or anything, but I took a picture of the back stamp, and I was just like, hey, this is the original one. If it doesn't have this back stamp, it's not coming from the artist who created it. And that's it. That's all I did on Etsy. So if people are like comparing prices, or they're kind of going like, oh, like I seen that one and that one's, the same or whatever. Like, I just want them to know, like, hey, I created, like, I'm the original, I'm the one who actually did the artwork for this. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty shocking. Like, I was just like, wow. And again, and that pin was a Pixar character. And again, like, I don't own that.
Yeah. Hard to get mad at that, I guess.
Right. Every once in a while, I see my pins on Etsy, and I don't tell them to take them off. I don't say like, hey, you can't sell that. Like, I own that. I don't do that. I'm just like, just letting you know, like, I'm the original artist. And actually, a couple of people on Etsy, they apologize, and they're really cool about it. And they're like, oh, I'm going to get rid of this. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't know this. Like, I'm going to take it off on Etsy, and, I'll just give the pins away, because they only bought a few of them. So I really appreciated that.
And at 50 cents.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a lot. What's the saying? All good that ends all good that ends well.
You know
All
what?
well.
Now you got me tongue tied in my head. All that ends well, something. All that.
I suck at this. I should probably
So do
look
I.
up these like proverbs or whatever it is.
All I know is the end part is ends well. There you go.
It ends well. Yes, yes,
It
yes.
ends well.
You're not letting it bother you, so that's good. You're not letting any like negative energy manifest within you. You're like, chop it away.
Right. I don't got time for that.
All right, so I want to talk about marketing, but before we do that, any parting words, any advice for pin makers new into the game? Or maybe they're, just trying to get started and they're not there yet.
Yeah. So my advice to new pin makers, or someone who's even thinking about doing it, is just do some research. Like, I wished I would have did that in the beginning. When I did my first pin, again, I just, created it on my iPad, and the first manufacturer that had a good price, I sent it to them. A lot of the fill and the colors were spilling over. They weren't the greatest looking, and so I would suggest to do research. Don't be afraid to reach out to some people you follow. Some of the brands that really inspire you, or you like their pins. Yeah, there's going to be some people out there who'll be like, oh, I can't give you that information. My manufacturer is like my secret. But me, yeah, I give everything out. It's just like so just reach out, to people that you follow that make pins. And kind of just ask some basic questions about manufacturers, about different ways, different styles of pins. There's so much like technique that can go into a pin. Like, oh, I need my lines to be certain millimeters, and I need the pin to be this thickness. Like, yeah, that shit you don't need to worry about. Like, but I would definitely research. Don't go with like the first manufacturer that gives you a good price. Because you're gonna find a million of those, and just take your time with it. If you have a design that you think is gonna be a banger, don't roll with it right away. Think about it, kind of figure out, who your audience is going to be, and, just make sure that the design is perfect before you send it out. And, kind of go over, sizes. There's just, I wouldn't just jump into it. That's basically what I'm saying. Like, just don't jump into it and be like, boom, like, I'm going to do a pin. And then like, within like a week you already have a pin in production. Like, just get some basic info, just reach out, and just take it slow. Don't rush into it.
Take it slow. Yeah, that's big. It's really excited to get eager over the process and wanting the pins like right away, but gotta do your due diligence.
My first pin came quick. I would say maybe 40% of them looked crappy.
Mm.
And once I had the pin in my hand, I'm like, well, okay, I don't have a backing card. I don't, it's just like you got to figure out, how you're going to present your pin, how you're going to, I know we're going to talk about marketing, but how you're going to market your pin, how are you going to catch people's attention? So maybe you do like a really cool custom backing card to that pin, or maybe you just do like a generic brand. And that's a big thing too. What's your name going to be? Like
Yes.
Coolectric is like, to me, 80s inspired. I wanted to do something cool and like electric, like something you would see like on an old school like commercial, like, oh, those pins are Coolectric, and I started with mashup pins. Like my first, I would say, first 5 or 6 pins were just mashup pins. And so I wanted a mashed up name, like cool and then electric. So Coolectric. And moving forward years later, I wish that I would have picked something different. I'm still sticking with this, but I wish I would have picked something a little bit that wasn't like a tongue twister that everyone could pronounce easily, like, because actually the full name for my brand is Coolectric Creations, which is like this long, like when I put it on a banner, it's just like, whoa, what is that? And it's long, Coolectric Creations. I wish I would have picked a name that was just like, I don't know. I don't even know an example, but maybe just like, turtle pins,
Yeah. Real short.
Real short. Yeah. So that's another thing too. Think about that name, because that name is going to stick. And later, if you want to rebrand, it's going to be really difficult, especially if you have like a following already on Instagram that knows you by the first name you picked. If you change it, yeah, maybe, people will catch on, but maybe some won't. So not only about the pin production, the pin design, but the name, like that, I think that's going to be really important for people starting out.
It's yeah. Phil, I don't know. Maybe we should start a class. Maybe we can open enrollment sometime late this September and teach people all this stuff, because it is a lot, but don't let it overwhelm you. It's just part of like anything that you would be doing and willing to invest in. Every business, you're gonna have like a business plan. You have to figure all that stuff out because you want to know what you're
Right.
walking into before. You don't want any surprises, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we're definitely doing this school. We're going to do like the pin manufacturing 101, and then, but
Welcome to Hard Enamel 202.
right. But it doesn't matter what what your hobby is, or if you want to fix up a classic car, you're just not going to jump into it. I mean, you need to figure out what car you're going to fix up. You need to figure out, what kind of engine you're going to throw in there. I never built an engine, so you're going to need help. You're going to need to go, ask people, oh, like, how do I do this? What's best for this? Just, it doesn't matter what you're into. You need to do your, you need to do your footwork and just, get some good advice.
Yes.
Really think it over. Yeah.
Good stuff, Phil. Good stuff. All right, marketing. What
Yes.
does marketing look like for you?
A mess.
A mess.
it's yeah, because again, in Coolectric, I have so much stuff going on. So I have different like categories, different series. So for instance, if I'm doing like this duo series right now where it's like, this is one of them here. This is Woody and Buzz from Toy Story.
Yes. Very cute. I love it.
Thank you. The little kawaii style there.
Yeah.
So I have Marty and Doc from Back to the Future. I have SpongeBob and Patrick. So I have a few sets, and I want to just concentrate on that, So I'm like, okay, I need to market I need to show people these, So, but then I have like these other things I have going on, So it's just like I'm always confused. So the way that I market is all through Instagram. Like
Okay.
that is my platform. That's my social media platform. I do have a page on Facebook, which does absolutely nothing for me. And some brands may say like, wow, like I get, a lot of action on Facebook. I get nothing on Facebook.
What are your secrets?
Right. So Instagram is my number one platform. I don't do TikTok. I don't do Pinterest. I don't do, whatever the hell else is out there. All I do is Instagram. That's where I get a lot of interaction is through Instagram. And I do promote my posts.
Okay. Okay.
If I see that a post is doing well and getting a lot of attention, I'm like, okay, well, if it's getting, a few hundred likes, on its own, organically, I'm going to boost this post and I'm going to promote it so I could get like another couple thousand people checking it out. So I do some promoted posts.
How much do you throw down on that?
So I usually do like $60. I do like $10 a day for like 6 days. I just let it roll. And then if it does really well, I'll like renew it, keep adding to it. And you'll notice whether it's a dud promotion or if the promotion is doing well. If you get a couple sales, you're like, all right, it's doing good. If you're getting a ton of followers, all right, it's doing good. You get more
Mm-hmm.
sales. But after 2 days or 3 days of promotion, you're not seeing anything. Like
Yeah, you'll know.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I just delete the promotion. But yeah, aside from coolectriccreations.com, my personal website, I actually have an Etsy store as well. And so I have an Etsy store where I promote as well. I pay Etsy, marketing fees. So, all my pins go to the top of the list.
Mm-hmm.
If people are searching up, whatever it is, like Snow White, and like, okay, my Snow White pin will pop up, and it just, Etsy really helps out. Etsy's platform is humongous,
Yeah.
on my personal website. I'm just doing that on my own. I don't do any marketing besides what I do on Instagram for my personal website. I don't do Google ads, I don't do anything. For my personal website, it is just Instagram. If you give Etsy like even $1 a day, and I think that's what I do. I do $1 a day. They give you advertisements not only on Etsy but on Google searches as well, and on Google ads.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they do, and that like really really helps me out. For people that can, throw down that dollar a day or $2 a day, like I would highly suggest you do that.
I'm just gonna say right now, I'm throwing down $25 a day. But it's not I'm not using $25 a day. It's up to $25. It's only like
Right.
when people click on something that Etsy will charge you.
Yeah, it's like 5 cents or 10 cents or whatever every time someone clicks on. So I guess you could set your limits, and I think I seriously am. I think my limit is like $1 a day, because when I first started, I was like, well, I'll do like $30 a month. That sounds cool, and I think I stuck with it, and it just works. But yeah, it does depend on the clicks. And I know if you do get a sale or a click outside of Etsy from the Google ads, it is a little bit more expensive. They take out a little chunk of it, of that
Mm.
sale, but that's fine with me. Like I'm cool with it. Like if my product gets a lot of eyes on it, and somebody actually buys something from me, I'm cool. Taking out that little percentage.
For sure. Yeah, I wasn't trying to like jump in or flex on the the $25 a day. I was thinking about it. I wanted to be like transparent because like
Right.
this stuff works, and everyone's budget is different. I'm just making it $25 a day so that it like really blasts out. But when you
Heck
think
yeah.
about it, like I'm just doing like Ninja Turtle stuff. So really, how many people are searching for Ninja Turtle pins?
A ton.
There are a ton, don't get me wrong, but that's why I'm not like spending $25 a day. Within the last 30 days, just because I think this is kind of cool and I like when YouTube channels and stuff like that show the transparency. There it is. I don't know if it's backwards for you, but $25 a day. This is what I've made so far. Like that's a lot of ad views. That's 44,000 folks like seeing the ads
That is good.
and about $90 in revenue, but I did spend $70 in ads. But some might say, well, you're only making, we'll round up $20 or something like that. Well, yeah, you can look at it like that. I came out in the green. I didn't lose any money, but also
Right.
44,000 people looked at it. All these people favorited the items, maybe
Exactly.
favorited my shop. Like that visibility is huge. And then you, like, your products become top of mind next time they search for something like this. There's a lot of value behind it.
Right. On Etsy, the favored, somebody favors your product. That's huge. And same thing with the Instagram ads, or not ads, but the Instagram promotions, is that when you do an ad, like everyone's saving that post. Everyone, like I just see the saves go up, save, 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 save. So they want to go back to that.
Mm-hmm.
They're thinking about it. They want to go back to it, and it might not be today, it might not be the next day or this week that they buy something, but eventually they're going to become a customer. And a huge thing for me in marketing is what you're putting inside that package. You know,
Oh, okay.
so you have that first customer. Okay, someone saw your ad on Etsy. Be like, okay, I'm gonna buy this Star Wars artsy pin for $14. I'm gonna throw in a matching sticker. I'm gonna throw in a free pin sometimes. That's what you got to do. You have that number. You have that customer that is buying something, taking a chance on you for the first time. You better throw something cool in that bag for them. And whether it's just a free sticker or even like a little thank you. I know Miguel from BB Create does a handwritten message for, I don't know if it's for all of them, but it used to be for every single order. I don't know if he still does that.
Yep.
No, yeah, I think he still does it actually. A handwritten note for every customer, and just to thank them. So that's huge marketing for me. If you throw something in there, all my Etsy reviews are like, it came with a free sticker. It's awesome. Like, I didn't know I was going to get a free sticker, and like, oh, he threw in a free pin. This is crazy, like.
Mm-hmm.
And people read those reviews and they're just like, oh damn, like this guy's throwing in a free pin every once in a while. Okay, like he's a cool dude.
It builds credibility for your shop too. People are on the fence about buying stuff from you. Like, oh well, I don't know how many 5-star reviews your shop has. 300 5-star. Like, okay, then I feel pretty good like ordering the stuff.
Right. And I've not gotten like one bad review on Etsy, and it's just like, it feels good to know that that community is, supporting me, because that platform is huge. So for you guys that aren't on Etsy, I suggest, try it out, because it's crazy. But back to like marketing and stuff, I'm going to just like talk about Instagram. Like what I'm having kind of like struggles with is pictures on Instagram. Do I take a picture of the pins on a denim jacket? Do I just do a colored background? Do I Photoshop a cool background behind it? Do I hold it in my hand, outside, I could do the same pin and do different posts, and get totally different interaction on it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
one post won't get anything and the other post will get like, a ton of likes and a ton of comments. So I'm always struggling with like, what's the right picture? I see Instagram pages and, a lot of like crafty people, for instance, Etsy people that have an Instagram that looks totally like in sync.
Yeah.
Everything is peach and everything is pretty and everything's glowing and shimmering and shining. Everything looks like, your eyes are just like, you're just like, oh, you're like getting hypnotized in this shit, right? With me, it just looks like a mess. Like I just have stuff all over the place. And it's like, that's one thing that I think I need help with, kind of getting like a flow for my Instagram page, what pictures work best. And Carlos and I talk about this all the time. Carlos from Data Crew, we talk about this all the time. Like he's always like, don't use those crazy backgrounds. Just do a simple background. This, and we go back and forth all the time on what works best for Instagram and what's going to get you the most attention and
Mm-hmm.
interaction. So what do you think about all that?
Well, okay. One, I think it's crazy because they just, I don't know when this is going to air, but Instagram recently said that it's no longer a photo sharing app, meaning they're going to favor video content more than they will regular photos. So I just want to like put that out there. I think that if you're trying to gain the algorithm, I mean, if you're posting photos and you're getting good engagement, keep doing that because like your fans are expecting that. But if you're not seeing a lot of good engagement or it's just like a lot more missing than it is hitting, then go for reels. I don't know, like take that picture, put it in the stories, add some like stickers and stuff like that, and then save it. Don't post it, and then post that as a reel. Throw some music behind it. There's like a quick way to make some like reels. So I would just say maybe think about trying to make video content. But as a pin maker, as I don't know, someone who's probably got a family and a mortgage and stuff like that. Like it's hard to find the time to create all this content, and it can be very overwhelming. So to bring it all back, here's what I've learned about photos, or at least this is like my take. I don't fucking know. No.
I'll be honest with you. Wait, go ahead. If you're gonna talk about photos, go ahead.
No, that was just a joke. I mean, it changes all the time. Don't get me wrong, and I'm still, there's that constant battle. That battle is real, and the struggle is real. But my thing is, I'll get as close as I can up on the pin, take up as much real estate on the picture, so that the pin, because like the phones and stuff like that are small.
Yeah.
I used to just like.
So you want it like this?
Yeah, as close as I can. Yeah. And, the background, whether it's like denim or some sort of fabric or colors, what I do, I go to Walmart and I get colored paper, and it comes in like this bundle, like this card stock. And it's like,
I just did that.
20 of 6 different colors or something like that. So then I'll tear up a couple out of the book, and then I'll just lay the stuff down and then just take pictures overhead or by a window. Like, I have all these flashes and video lights and stuff like that. Like, there really are no excuses with me in creating content and shit like that. But I just try and have fun with it. But I keep the pin as big as I can, try and get the details to come up as clean as I can. The hard part for me is bringing that photo into Lightroom so I can get rid of any kind of like dusts or little dust things or any imperfections on the pins.
Right.
Because you could take a picture with your phone and they won't come out. The picture might come out great.
Right.
But when you're comparing that with like a Sony, a Canon, a Nikon, like there are differences. And when I'm taking pictures with my Sony setup, I can see a lot of those imperfections. So
absolutely,
it's a matter of, well, do I want to like bust out the gear and take some really nice pictures? What kind of pin is this? I'll usually do that when I'm releasing a pin, put it up on the website because I want like those nice pictures. But I don't know if it's something I've gotten in the mail or something that I've posted before, something like that. Sometimes I don't want to like get all that stuff, so I'll just get away with the phone, but getting as close as I can. So I don't use the Instagram camera app feature at all. I'll like go to the Photos app on the iPhone because pictures are a lot crisper and stuff like that. And when you're that close up, the background almost doesn't even matter. Like it does matter, but you're going to be so close up on it that it's going to be blurry. So I wouldn't put too much thought into it. Just making sure it's nice and clear. And then it stands out. Because like another thing you're dealing with is you're trying to market a bunch of different series and stuff like that. You're going to go insane, I think, trying to keep up a feed that looks all nice and special and stuff like that. I think as long as each of your posts maybe gets its own like love and attention, you're really like putting it all. I think that's gonna work because eventually, like that's your brand and that's what people have come to know you by. You don't have like this nice, beautiful feed, so people aren't expecting that, and like that's a lot of work to try and keep up. I tried doing the checkerboard grid with like one dark photo, one light photo, and that was a pain in the butt. Sometimes I'd have to hop on the computer and make a graphic real quick just to kind of keep up the aesthetic and stuff like that. Props to you if you can do it, but for me, I'm trying to like be on the move a lot and not in front of a computer all the time.
I can't do it. Like I've tried, I even had templates, where like, I would just like, make a pin into a PNG and throw them on top of like, the certain back. And like, I tried a bunch of different ways and I just delete all the photos, after like, a few months. Cause I was like, this looks horrible. So,
you're putting all that time into it and they're not getting any of the likes that you'd think you would because you're putting all this time into it.
Right. And I was just like, okay, and I've tried a few different things, but honestly, like, just taking like a nice simple picture, with a simple background, I throw them into Pixelmator, to touch up. Like Pixelmator has a really easy like retouch tool. So if there's a piece of lint or something, or if there might be a little spot of like, a little spot on the pin that you don't want, it's so easy just to use that little retouch pin, get rid of it. So even if I take the picture on an iPhone, and the picture looks great, but of course, if you're doing a close-up, you see that detail of the pin that might not look perfect. I'll go and I'll touch it up, real quick on my computer, and then I'll airdrop it back to my phone, and then put it on Instagram. So it is a lot of work, man, keeping all that up. But going back to the videos on Instagram, I've never fucked with Reels, which I want to. I've just never done it. Every time I go to the app and I was just like, I mess with it a little bit. I'm like, all right, I don't know what's going on here. But the cool thing that I like about videos on Instagram is you're seeing your views, but you're not really seeing the likes, which I like. I mean, yeah, engagement's great. Whether you like it or not, you're seeing it. So I like to know, like, how many people are viewing the videos, how many people are viewing my stories, because I'm not liking everything that I'm scrolling by. I'm a huge Disney fan, and if I'm on my personal Instagram and I'm scrolling and I see something like really cool at Disney, like, oh my God, that's a cool food at Disney, I got to try it. I'm not liking it. I'm just scrolling by it. So I don't get butthurt if people aren't liking my shit. Like, if I'm not getting hundreds and hundreds of likes, but I like to know that they're seeing it.
Yeah.
So when I do a video, I see, how many views on my end. I think you can see it the other end. I'm not sure, but on my end, I see how many views right away, and it doesn't show the likes, which I like that because I don't really care about the likes. I just want to know who's seeing it. I want to know people are actually looking at it. But I need to try Reels. I need to get into that and do it. I have not done one yet, but I heard they're really cool, and and Instagram, the algorithm really loves those. So
that's what it is. If you're trying to like gain the algorithm, just post a bunch of reels. Dude, I've been watching a bunch of like YouTube videos. This is what I do in my free time. I'll watch YouTube videos on like TikTok strategy or how to grow on Instagram. Like in 2021, like I've seen I don't know how many of these freaking videos over the years, but with the one like common denominator that they all have is they're posting content regularly, consistently, like sometimes once a day at the same time, or it's like 3 times a day. It's like 3 reels or 3 TikToks, and it's like it must be nice to have that time.
yeah, that's not gonna work with me. I have, I just don't have the time for that. Like,
But so then that's when all the ads come in. Something does good,
yeah,
you do the ads, and kind of let that work its magic.
yeah. Like I try to hustle on stories. I hear if you do like at least 10 stories a day, like Instagram likes that, and it'll give you some love. So I try to hustle on stories, but in my actual feed, once a day, sometimes once every 2 days for me. Like, it's not like I don't wake up in the morning and have an alarm set and be like, okay, I got to do a post at 8 o'clock, and then I got to do a post at 12 o'clock, and then a post in the evening. No, it's just one post, and whenever I have time throughout the day, that's when I do that post. And I know that people that hustle on Instagram and TikTok, yeah, it is rewarding for them, like, totally. I just don't have the time for it. I'm not going to hire somebody to, take over my social media. Not yet. Maybe soon, but not yet.
Shoo. What other marketing questions? We talked a lot. Do you have any advice for any just kind of like, here's a question. Here's our last question about marketing. I love this. And I just kind of started asking people this. If I gave you $100, let's bump it up. Let's bump it up. $150
Hell yeah.
to spend on your marketing budget. Instagram ads, Etsy ads, Google ads, I don't know, buy a billboard. How would you spend that $150?
150
As a pin
bucks.
maker. Yep.
As a pin maker. Okay. So 150 bucks. I would probably spend probably like $100 on stickers. Like, I'm not even kidding. To me, that always works well. Whether you're doing a show, you have a free sticker. You come to my booth, you're going to get a free sticker, and it's going to have my info on it. It's going to have my handle on it. It's or definitely, Instagram promotions. I'm going to spend that. But to me, like, giving something for free is huge marketing for me. I know because I haven't done a show since the pandemic. I haven't gotten into it yet. Hopefully soon I'll get my feet wet and get back into it. But if you have something, I always have, I have little buttons that I give away for free. On the back rim, it has all my information, but just a free button, free sticker. Like, after I do a show, and after all those freebies, like, 100 freebies go out, my Instagram grows, my sales boost, I get a lot of attention, so definitely, maybe some free buttons, some free little, acrylic pins that are easy and cheap to make, some stickers, And yeah, some Instagram promotions will probably be my, my advice on that.
That sounds like money well spent.
Yeah. What about you, man? What if you had $150?
Oh, great question.
Where would that go real quick?
They would probably, I'd say half of it would go to Instagram. I'd find maybe one or two of the best performing posts recently, and I would boost the heck out of those. Probably throw a quarter of that into Etsy ads, and then I'd probably get some stickers. I could probably get like 50 or 100 stickers made or something like that with with the remaining money, but
Oh yeah.
that's a great idea. I also love stuffing packages with like stickers. Been trying to do like more branded stickers, and we're trying to have fun with them now. So now instead of it saying warrior pins or just kind of being like just like doing something that's not the brand name, it's our tagline. It's the little things in life.
That's cool.
Not associated with warrior pins or anything like that. So like, because sometimes I feel a little weird when like brands will slap like their logo on it or something like that.
Right.
You know where you got it from. You're like, where else are you getting the sticker from?
All my stickers are just my basically pin designs, but I just put my handle on them, so they know, where it came from. They know where to find me on Instagram and
It's smart. It really is smart. I probably should do that.
yeah.
Okay, Phil, talk to me about the Pin Lab show.
The Pin Lab show. Oh my God. It's the first enamel pin show to hit Pop Shop Live. And it is three brands, which is Miguel and Mike from BB Create, Carlos from Day at a Crew, and me. And dude, it's just an amazing, fun show. It's a nonstop 3-hour party. And we do it every month. We just have so much fun on that show. We create exclusive pins just for the show that you could only get on the show, and we have a great following, a lot of interaction on the show, but it's so much fun. You need to come on the show with us.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, you need to come on. Every month we have a guest artist, so it's not only about, hey, check our stuff out. We want to bring the pin community together, and we always bring folks on who we love and who are homies and who do great work. So every month we have a guest artist, but it's so much fun. Like, I'm glad we started it. We started it a year ago. So we started it in July of 2020 during the pandemic. We had seen 3D Retro, which is a designer toy shop here in Los Angeles. So 3D Retro was doing Pop Shop Lives, and Carlos was watching one and saw how cool the platform was and how well, people were doing on it. And he came to me with the idea. He's like, hey, man, I think we need to do this. He's like, but I think we need to get a few fellas together, a few brands together to make it huge. I don't want to do it on my own, so I think we need to bring a lot of people in together. And I was like, all right, let's do it. So we brought, we reached out to, a handful of people, the three of us just stuck to it. And, it's just going so well. We're really happy on the outcome of the Pin Lab show. It's funny that it first started as the Pin Flare Fanfare. That was the name. Talk about tongue twisters. So it was the Pin Flare Fanfare, and eventually we needed to come up with something a little bit more catchy. So we went with the Pin Lab show, and we all partnered, and we're actually legit as of now. So we're an official business. We did all the legal work.
Congrats.
Thanks. So we did all the legal work, and it's we got the DBA now, so we're an official business, and so the three of us are in a partnership, which is amazing. But I mean, I honestly didn't think we were going to do this well, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing every month, and it's amazing. I'm so happy that we did it, especially starting during the pandemic, giving people a place to actually come and shop and hang out with people and see some live interaction. And it was kind of like being at a show with not being at a show. You're sitting chilling on your couch, on a device, but you kind of had that same feel. And we thought, once things started opening up again here in LA and in California, that the Pin Lab show was going to start decreasing, like the audience was going to like start decreasing, things were going to start not doing so good, but it's no, man. I mean, it's still going full blast, and we're excited about it. It's been a lot of fun. But yeah, the Pin Lab, man, if you guys have not checked out the Pin Lab show, download Pop Shop Live, find us. You gotta do it. I mean, it's just, as I said,
hold up. What's
yeah.
the special code that they gotta enter?
So it's Pin Pal.
Oh, how about
Pal.
that?
Yeah, so Pin Pal. So but when I say it's a party, I mean it's a party. We fuck around nonstop. We joke with each other. We joke with the people. Everyone's having a good time. And we play games, free pins every show. Everyone gets free pins, great deals. We do this thing called the 5 for 5, which we do like a heater pin that could cost it could be a $15 pin. We'll sell it for $5. So we do a lot of cool deals.
You guys are crazy. That's crazy talk.
It's cool. And there's and I feel that we actually opened it up for a lot of people in the enamel pin business. So we have a lot of friends now, a lot of really cool, there's a lot of really cool brands on Pop Shop now, a lot of pin brands that are doing really well. I'm just glad like we kind of started that. It's just a lot of fun. Have you checked out the show or not yet?
I've downloaded the app, and this was like when it first started. I'm like, what is this? I saw Enamel Pin Market was on there, and then I saw Pin Lab. So I'm like, what is, okay, it's coming from these guys. It's coming from BB Create. This is something. Okay. I started seeing stuff on the Instagram. I haven't been able to make it to a live show, but I'm trying to make it this Saturday. For anyone listening, we're recording this July 21st. I'm just being all sorts of transparent right now. And you guys have a show coming up this Saturday, which I set the alarm. Well, I'm trying to get one of these $5 pins. Like, I just want to see what this madness is for myself.
Yeah. I don't know when I don't know when you're gonna release this podcast, but the next show I think is August 21st. That's gonna be the next show after this Saturday. Okay. But yeah, I mean, you definitely got to check it out. It's a lot of fun. But no, we got to have you on, man. It's gonna be it'll be a blast. Believe me.
I would love to. But I also love the idea because it sounds like it's like a booming success to be able to do this on my own. And like I'm ways away from I still need to figure this out and experience it myself. But I like the idea of being able to put on like a little show for a couple hours, something like that, in the comfort of my own living room. And just give out a bunch of deals and just have fun and just hang out with people, interact with folks. Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer. If I can do like the madness and the awesomeness of like patches and pins, but at the comfort of my own home.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, when Kai from Enamel Market was like, hey, I'm going to do this Enamel Market on Pop Shop. I was like, yeah, that was big because then you knew like the pin makers were in it. And from there, I knew a lot of them were going to start doing their own shows. And, there's no competition. Like, and as I said before, a lot of them are our friends, Mm-hmm. I'm just happy that the pin community now has another option. It's not just going to a show because that's all we had. If you're not buying online, you're going to a show. There's shows going on now, but maybe people are, a little uncomfortable still. Maybe they don't want to, go to a show. And plus here in LA, I mean, I'm sure where you are at too, we have massive summer heat wave going on right now. Nobody wants to go out in the sun in 100-degree weather, and shop for pins and sweat, it's like, so to have a platform where they actually go on and see some of their favorite makers. And it's cool because if you go to a show, you're busy. You're selling, you're hustling, you're busy. So yeah, you could say hi to somebody, but you're not going to spend time with them and chat with them for, 3 hours because you're selling stuff, you're busy. But on Pop Shop, it's like, we're talking to these people for 3 hours. We're hanging out with them, we're giving them our full attention. Any questions that they ask get answered. Like if Miguel and I are in front of camera, Carlos is behind the computer answering all questions. We're always interacting with everybody, making sure all questions are answered, and just making sure everyone's having a good time and making sure everyone knows how to use, Pop Shop Live. Because yeah, the first time could be confusing, mm-hmm. but it is a lot of fun. I don't know if the guys talked about, but we actually have lab coats that we start the show with because we're called the Pin Lab. We're called the Pin Lab. So we start the show like a full-on concert. We have music blasting. We put on, we're like the Beastie Boys going out there. We have our lab coats on. We dance around. We're like, all right, let's get this fucking party started. And
Oh, I love it.
yeah, it's really cool.
All right, now I got to check it out.
Yeah, we have a studio in LA. We're trying to expand it right now to where we can actually have like more room to put a couch in there to actually have in-person guests, because all of our guests, for this past year have been virtually. So we do like a split screen with them, and they're selling pins on our show. The guest artists, they ship the pins to us and we upload them onto the store, and then we sell, everything for them. We ship it out for them. But now it'd be cool if we could just expand, just a little bit, get a couch in there and actually have in-person guests, So that's our goal next, is to do a little expansion. Would be fun.
Big things, big things. Yeah, definitely. We'll have all the links for the Pin Lab show, Instagram, the Pop Shop Live, all that stuff will be in the show notes for anyone interested. Definitely check that out.
Yeah, I got to give mad props to Miguel for handling all social media. He handles our Instagram, and he does all the promotions for us. And like, I don't know how he does it, because on top of BB Create, but dude, thank you, Miguel. Appreciate it, man.
Cool, man. So let's wrap this bad boy up. I got a couple questions queued up for you. Let's see what you give me. What's your favorite type of enamel pin to make?
Favorite type of enamel pin to make? What do you mean? Like style, or
just style? Whether it's soft enamel, hard enamel, or maybe you just prefer all your pins.
I love doing hard enamel pins with printing. Those are my favorite. Like, nice. I just love rolling with those. And again, like later on, from the beginning is when I learned I could do that stuff. And so to me now, even 4 years later, I'm still amazed. I'm like, dude, like I could do little tiny details on this pin and, just have it printed. So to me, hard enamel with printing is my go-to right now.
Nice. What's your most favorite pin that you've made so far?
The most favorite pin that I made so far is going to be my Forky pin from Toy Story. Yeah. And it's a sold out pin. You can't get it anymore, but that was my absolute favorite pin to make, because it actually had real googly eyes on the pin. So I had to do little prototypes, which was, it was basically just like me printing out different sizes on paper and gluing googly eyes on these cutouts, and because I was afraid, the manufacturer would send me something and the eyes wouldn't fit properly. So I knew exactly what size eyes I wanted and how they would look, and just to get the pin right. But it's amazing. It was huge too. It was over 2 inches tall, and it was soft enamel. It had real googly eyes, and that's my.
You put the googly eyes on yourself?
I did. And it took me a few different adhesives to try out, because, first I just used the regular adhesive that came on the back of the googly eyes. And, I sold them, the first time I sold them, I think I was in San Francisco at a show. I had somebody reach out to me after the show, like, hey, the googly eye fell off. I was like, oh, I'll send you another one, And then I had another person, oh, the googly eye fell off. I was like, oh man, so I redid it all with this special glue that nothing could take those googly eyes off. So I finally figured it out, but that's my favorite pin to make. And it always probably will be my favorite pin to make, because I had so much fun creating it. And
wow, that's awesome. What's your favorite pin hashtag to use on Instagram?
Just pin game or enamel pin.
Okay. Keeping it classic.
Yeah, I just do, I always do enamel pin for sure. That's probably my absolute favorite. And second runner up would be pin game. Not pin game strong, not pin game proper, just regular, just pin game.
None of this fancy, strong, proper, strong AF. I've seen that one.
Oh, AF, yeah. Pin game strong AF? Wow, that's a long one.
But it's a growing one. I think there's a couple thousand posts associated with that. What's been your best/worst selling pin?
So best selling pin is a Mama Coco pin. That's my best selling. I'm not even kidding, at over 10 runs on that, if not more.
Wow.
And that pin was actually a collab with one of my friends who's no longer making pins. And I'm like, dude, you could have made bank off this pin. Yeah, that's best-selling pin would have to be my Mama Coco pin. And that's I did the artwork for that pin, and that's the actual pin that got ripped off in China.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So a worst selling pin would, oh my goodness, there's a handful of those. I'm trying to think here. Worst selling pin, I think, would be, I did a mashup of Vanellope from Wreck-It Ralph, you know, the sugar president.
Yeah.
And then and Punky Brewster. So it was and I thought, like, I did the artwork and I was like, this totally works, you know? And so I did Vanellope, the ponytails, you know, Punky Brewster, but she's dressed in Punky Brewster's clothes. And I thought it was legit. I'm like, this is going to be great. No, crickets on that one, man. It's probably my worst selling pin right now. I think I probably got like 90 of them in a drawer still.
Dang, it's too deep of a cut.
I know, man. Yeah. And again, like, you know, I'm that 80s kid that grew up, you know, on the Punky Brewster thing. And
yeah,
a lot of people, they probably don't get it. So
where is your favorite place to rock a pin?
My favorite place to rock a pin, if the weather's right, on my denim jacket. Other than that, I don't rock them. Honestly, I'll be honest with you. They rock on a pin board. Yeah, I only do them on jackets, sometimes sweaters, you know, if the weather's, you know, cool here. But other than that, I just don't throw them on like a t-shirt or a hat or anything.
Okay. Just always curious where people are rocking them.
I got to wait till fall and winter to like rock my pins.
What's your favorite fandom to make pins for?
Like Disney. Real quick, you know, I started, you know, doing certain amount of like Disney pins. Like I do like, you know, a Mickey Mouse dressed up as like a luchadora wrestler, you know, because I like the Latin style of it. But now, like, I'm so into Disney. My daughter and I love Disneyland. We're always at the parks, and you know, it's become like a huge thing for me. And you know, just that bond with my daughter. I'm doing so much Disney stuff now. And the Disney fans are huge and they're really supporting. So, you know, I'm actually leaning towards doing way more Disney pins now. So, yeah.
Nice. I like that. I thought I was going to get Star Wars, but I got everything.
Yeah, you got Disney. Yeah.
Let's see. Who are some other pin makers that you look up to?
The homies, of course, from, you know, the Pin Lab show. But before the Pin Lab show, they were my good friends. So I always look up to Mike and Miguel from BB-8 and Carlos from Data. Those are my number one go-to guys that if I ever need advice or help with anything. Stina from Laser Brain, I've always looked up. But, you know, the guy who got me started in pins, honestly, is Julio from Move in Silence. I was at an LA backyard barbecue party and I saw one of his pins, which is one of my favorite movies. It was Richie Valens from La Bamba, the movie. So it was actually Lou Diamond Phillips from that movie. And I went up to the person wearing it, who was my buddy. And I was like, dude, what is this? Where did you get it? I need one. This is amazing. He's like, oh, I got it in, you know, the store in Highland Park in LA, you know. I was just like, so I did some research on it. And it was, you know, made by this company called Move in Silence, and it wasn't licensed. And I just thought that was, because I thought, oh, maybe like Warner Brothers put this out or something. I thought it was a legit pin, you know. No, it wasn't. And then so I just started getting into this. I'm like, okay, so people are making pins on their own of anything they want. And I was just amazed by it. And I actually met Julio. I saw that he was doing a show. So I actually met with him and had a chat with him and let him know, like, dude, like, you're the one that pretty much got me started, you know, off of that La Bamba pin. And so he's someone that I look up to as well. Yeah, like, I'll never forget that. Just like seeing that pin and knowing like, oh shit, we could do this now. Like, we can make our own pins of anything we want, because there'd be no way you would ever find that pin, you know, in a Target or, you know, in a big box store, you know, or even online, you know, if it wasn't, you know, it was just cool, man.
That is really cool. I think Rob from Otherworld also mentioned that Julio was also like a big part of just like him getting started and stuff like that. So he sounds like he's like the pin father.
Yeah, he's like, so him and Joe from Nerd Pins, dude, like Joe kills it constantly. So he's somebody that I look up to. But, you know, Miguel Miguel and Mike, Joe from Nerd Pins, and Julio were the first ones I actually had like real conversations with. And they gave me like all advice. Like Joe was so cool, like down to earth. Like, he just talks your ear off, and he gives you good advice. And so I look up to those guys. Rob is amazing. Him and I did a collab, which is really cool. So many people, man. I look up to so many people, but the first three, man, those first three, BB Create, Nerd Pins, and Move in Silence were the ones who have always been there for me since the beginning.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
If I had $1 for every time that Mike, Miguel, Carlos, Static Crew, anyone was named, I might have a pretty penny. I love it. Those
I
are good
know.
guys, though, and I love that you guys are kind of like your own little collective, and you actually formed something beyond just your own brands, and it's like you guys are giving back to the community. You guys aren't trying to hustle or nickel and dime like anyone. Like you're giving back to the community. You're building this awesome platform through Pin Labs, and I just think that's awesome.
Yeah, and the reason why it works real well is we're good friends way before, I mentioned it before, but way before the Pin Lab, or Pin Flare Fanfare. Every time I'd see Mike Miguel at a show, it was always hugs and kisses and smooches and boy, let's talk, that's what's going on. And Carlos and I, like every week, would talk on the phone. We still do, like, we still talk on the phone all the time, and kind of just give each other advice and stuff. So really good friends before the show. And that's why I think it works so well.
Nice. I love it. Last question.
Yep.
Phil, what are the little things in life for you?
The little things in life for me. The little things in life for me is a fucking great taco. Nothing beats a great taco. A quiet house. Right? A quiet house. I mean, like, I just want to relax, watch a little bit, Netflix or something in a quiet house, just chill. It's not little, but I just love going to Disneyland with my daughter, man. Like, just spending the day with her really brings me so much joy. And to me, that's like the little thing, that really really gets to me every time. What else is a little thing for me? I don't know, man. Like, I'm just simple dude. I'm real so simple. It's good food. Give me some good food and not a chaotic house, and I'm happy, man. I'm like happy. Yeah.
I like that, man. I want to have tacos with you one day at Disney. Sounds like a good time,
dude. Actually, at Disney in California Adventure, that park, they have some really good, like they're called queso birria tacos. You would love them. Come on down, man. We're gonna have a good time.
Oh yeah, right after and before or after the Pin Lab show, like we'll have it all figured out. It'll be a fun-filled pin flare, cute appreciation, good time. I don't know.
Yeah, man. That's it. You're gonna do the show. We're gonna go to Disneyland. We're gonna freaking eat some tacos, and we're gonna write a book about it. And then we're gonna
love it. We're gonna all get together with our iPads and draw together or something.
Yeah, and we're gonna then we're gonna execute our pin making 101 plan,
dude,
and get down to business.
That's right. We got to get to work, man.
I know.
But Phil, that's the end of Pin Pals. You made it through the gauntlet. This is pretty lengthy, but it felt like we just got on the call like 2 minutes ago. Like it flew by so fast.
It did, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. Dude, if you ever need anything, let me know. Anything of mine, I'm sending you stuff. So just let me know what you want. It's all coming your way, man.
I appreciate that.
This was fun. It did flow real quickly. I don't even know how long. Do you have like a time there? How long have we been on?
We're approaching the hour 30 mark. It might be, yeah. Raw recording is 1 hour 30 minutes.
Wow, didn't even seem that long at all, man.
Nope.
But hey, thank you so much again. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time, and it was fun being here. And I hope that some of my little knowledge bits can help some folks out.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I think this was really good conversation, and we went in depth with a lot of things. And there was a lot of transparency, which I like, and which people will get value out of. And I think also this was pretty entertaining. So I'm sure everyone's gonna love what you had to say and appreciate what you brought to the table. I'm gonna give you the floor. I know you just shouted out a bunch of folks, but if there's anyone else you want to shout out, now would be the time. And tell the listeners where they can find you.
All right, I'm shouting out everybody. Shout out to everybody. You know who you are. And CoolectricCreations.com. You're gonna have it posted, right? So I don't need to spell
It'll
it
be in
out.
the show notes. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a long spell out, guys. And then Coolectric_Creations is my handle on Instagram. Come find me. If you guys have any questions, let me know. If you guys, need any help with anything, I'll be happy to help you out if I can, if I have the answer.
I love it. And remind everyone one more time where, and how they can get to the Pin Lab show.
So the Pin Lab show is on Pop Shop Live. So you're going to need to download the Pop Shop Live app. And then once you are filling everything out, all your info, you could put in our code, which is PinPal, and that'll direct you straight to our show. And if you guys have any questions on that as well, you could hit me up or hit up the PinPal show on Instagram, and we answer all questions.
Boom.
Boom.
That easy. That easy. Go ahead and download it so you guys are ready for their next show every month. Don't miss out on that good stuff. Maybe I'll see you listeners in the room.
That's right.
That'd be a lot of fun. Phil, man, thank you again so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Hope you have a good one.
All right, Eric, man, I appreciate it. You take care, and you'll be expecting a package from me soon, my friend.
Ow, ow. Peace.
All right, man. See ya. Thank you.